Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to RPM for another week. Good evening to Higgsy, who's straight in the chat. Thought we'd get going a little bit early this evening to give you some of the quality tunes on offer from EA this season. And as you can see, we've got the drivers ready in pit lane, and qualifying is already underway. And 17 and a half minutes remaining. We've got someone coming out on the track. I believe it's one of the Alpines. Yes. So keen to get it going, and we'll find out very soon which one that is. As there's a couple more drivers now starting to make their way out on track. It's Philip Hogston then, the first man out of pit lane, and we'll get some information up on the screen for you so we can see what each driver is doing. And of course it's Monza this evening, so some very high top speeds expected, and some big braking zones as well, and pretty much guaranteed drama at turn one come the race. So here we go. And yeah, drivers flooding out on track right now. We'll just get some driver streams coming through in the Discord, so we'll just get rid of that. Try and get some information for myself as well. So the telemetry should be up and running in a minute or two. This is the first of a Italian double header, of course. We've got Monza this week, Imola next week, and it was scheduled to be a full quali next week. Whether that, I believe, well, full quali I'm fairly certain has been scrapped for this season. Whether that becomes a sprint race, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so pretty much everyone now, bar a couple of runners, are out on track, and Philip Hogston will be hoping that none of the remaining ones come out just into the start of his flying lap, because he's out of the Parabolica this time and coming across the line to be the first man to start a timed lap this evening with just under 16 minutes remaining. DRS Open then, and of course pushing 215 miles per hour by the time he gets down to turn one, looking for around the 100 metre board. I think it braked into the right-left chicane. Not taking much curb there was Philip, and now you're just looking for the line of least resistance through Curva Grande. Shortest run down to the Roger chicane. Again, just after the 100 metre board, not taking too much of that sausage curb on the inside, of course, staying away from them. And now the two Lesmos. Again, the curbs are very easy to lose the car on. Looking neat and tidy, pretty much like an opening lap should, I guess, here for Philip Hogston. No point putting everything on the line in the first lap of quali, and he does tend to be one that goes for even 2 laps on the first run, so we'll no doubt see more from him in the later in the session, as he keeps it within the white lines on the exit of Ascari. And now just the Parabolica to go. It's going to come down a few gears, most likely to 5th gear, just after that painted green tarmac on the left-hand side. Yeah, running it through in 5th gear. Oh, he's round, and we've got one of the Alpha Tauris making their way around as well, so he should be able to get through the gap after that. And it's a very short run to the pit lane. Oh, we've got the Alpha Tauri of, I think that's Phil with the red helmet, round as well. So that's a little bit more precarious, and there's a lot of cars coming, so hopefully we're not going to see someone disqualified here. But he's very much struggling to get it going again. There is a gap after the next 2 cars. He's gone for it after this one. He should be okay from there. And I imagine back to the pits it is. Philip Hogston, did he come back in? I think he did, yeah. And likewise Phil, yeah. So let's just have a look after that early drama. We've got Kron fastest on a 20.7. Schnitzy just goes faster in the Red Bull, 20.410. So Schnitzy from Kron. Then Spritzy in the 21s, 21.0 from Ricker, 21.1, Wardy 21.2, and then you've got Danos, Snellhenk, GR and IJ, as Huss just slots in front of those final 2 into the 121s himself. Who've we got coming across the line now? I think that was Inorganic, which I think is a debutant this evening in a reserve capacity. And yeah, his first lap not quite into the 22s, puts him P10 at the moment. We've had Wardy, I think, no. I think we probably already had him. I wonder if we've had someone come across to start the lap. Because I've not missed too much there. Danos, I think, no, he must have already been there. Snellhenk, we've missed at some point as well, 21.7. Volcano then. So he's again in a reserve in the Alpine. He's acquitted himself very well actually within RBM within his first few races. I believe he has. Let's just have a quick look. He's down there in the reserves, so he's had a third place on the grid, and finished third in the race at Silverstone, and then pole and win last time out, including the fastest lap. So that was at Belgium, of course. So yeah, Volcano. We expect to see more than obviously that's not a representative time. The 37.9, and it looks like he might be on a lap still out there now. So second lap perhaps on this set of tyres for him. It will be interesting to see if anyone tries to tow later on, of course, but it's probably easier to get it wrong than get it right. Coming out of the final corner, does he continue on? Yes, he does. So this is going to put him well up the order, I would imagine. That does put him into P2 at 20.6. He can't get ahead of Schnitzy, who's your provisional pole sitter. And we've got Spivey, I think, on an in-lap. Why have I all of a sudden... Why can I not go beyond IJ? There we go. No. There we go. Yeah, Spivey returning to the pits. Is that... Phil's on an outlap then. He's a little bit out of sync, having had that spin at the end of his lap. And there is a Mercedes coming out on the pit lane, but clears it without an issue. And braking down into turn 1. Taking a little bit of right-hand curb, not too much to the left, but got a little bit sideways on the exit. And probably cost himself a little bit of time. I've just noticed that Huss has joined, so we've lost him somewhere, but throughout qualifying he should be able to rejoin and not have any issues, hopefully. Feel a little bit wide on the entry there. Lost himself a bit of time, tightened up the right-hand part of the chicane. So it's been a scruffy start to qualifying. First 7 minutes or so for the AlphaTauri driver that currently sits where in the standings? Let's have a look. P3 behind it's his teammate Ricker, who leads on 162 points, and Kron right behind him on 161. Phil then on 137, so he's got some points to make up. Going to be hoping that he can get some laps on the board. Just the Parabolica to go, which caught him out last time. I think that was Philip Hogson's just gone across and put his first representative time in of a 21.4 to go P8 so far. And we're about to see Phil then, one of only 4 drivers yet to set a time, comes across the line. What's it going to be? Is it in the 21s? It is. It's the low 21s and slots in just half a tenth ahead of his teammate to make it an all AlphaTauri third row. Who do we have then that we've not yet seen? Crago's in the pits. Goes on a lap, I believe, maybe even getting a slight tow from his teammate. And there's an AlphaTauri there as well, so he's getting a bit of a double tow as he pulls out. Simple, we still yet to see a time from, and Cosmo as well is still back in the pits. Simple, I think, may be mistaken, but I think we've seen him sit out quite a bit of qualifying in the past. Not sure if there's a particular tactic behind it, but Goer in the second McLaren is P14 after that with a 22.1. Sinful is on an outlap. He's the next man to start a lap. There's a couple of drivers now on in laps. There's a few in the pits, and what about 5 or 6 of them on outlaps? Is that who would that be? Is that Philip Hogston on an in lap? Yeah, so he's not going to be coming across the line. Danos, what's he doing? Is he on a lap? It looks like he could well be, and he's going a little bit quicker. So this might put him in the sort of Dragos region of P7. Maybe even troubling the AlphaTauris as he comes across the line. What is it going to be? It's a 20.8. He gained a decent chunk of time in that final sector. Goes P4 ahead of Spritzy with that one. The AlphaTauri is coming back to the pits. Who is the next man across the line? It's Inorganic. Not on a lap, I don't believe. We've got the 2 Haas cars. Not sure if did Kron just set a time? I think he did, to go back to P2. We've got one of the Astons as well. It must be Huss. Does he improve? I'm not sure whether he's on a lap. No, he doesn't. One of the Ferraris comes across as Ricker goes P4. 20.815 for him. Slots only just ahead of Danos. Spritzy now coming across, starting a lap by the looks of things. Dragos coming out of the pits. Who else have we got? Snellink coming back in. Sinful, I think, is on his first lap yet and about to put a time in. Where's it put in? P8, so a good solid opening lap. It took him about 10 minutes to get there, but better late than never, I guess. And what is he, about 3/10 off his teammate's time at the moment. Who is not, well, even if he was on a lap, it's invalidated, so I expect to see Danos back into pit lane. Schnitzy's on an out lap around the back of the circuit. Spivey could well be on a lap, is he? Looks like he may well be. Taking a little bit of curve through the Parabolica. And we'll see if he carries on. Yes, he does. This is going to improve on his 22.1 so far. Gets him into the 21s. Yeah, well into the 21s. Puts him P11, excuse me. Wait a minute, we've got one of the Haas cars facing the wrong way. It is Kron. As we've seen a couple of cars already. Is he stuck? It looks like Kron's stuck. Which is interesting. I imagine he's going to be disqualified from there. Yeah. We can't see him because of the UI there, can we? He's finally been reset, has he? Yep. And I imagine heading back to the pits. So he will get another crack at it. 6 minutes remaining. There's Mercedes going around, I think, on an in lap. What have we got out there? Phil's on an out lap. A little bit of a lull here at the moment in terms of times. Maybe Schnitzy, is he on a hot lap? He's coming to the end of the first sector now. Is he improving? No. Spivey, I think, is on an in lap. Yes, he is. There's a Aston out there, which is Huss, but he's invalidated. Philip Hogston, no. One of the Williams, is it? In organic, I don't think he's on a lap, or he might well be actually. We'll stick with him. Maybe getting a little bit of a tow from Huss before the Parabolica. Staying in 6th gear then, choosing not to knock it down to 5th. And driving for the line, where's it going to put him? Can he improve on his 23.0? He can, but doesn't improve his position. It's a 22.7 for him. Philip Hogston's just gone across the line. Don't think he was on a lap, certainly not one that improved. Volcano, it looks like he could be improving here. Driving for the line, is it going to be the front row? It is, it's pole position at the moment. 20.196, puts him 3/10 clear of Schnitzy at the moment, who I think has just started a lap, so we'll stick with him because this may well be one to challenge the man who's right ahead of him. So Volcano wants to be careful he's not giving him a tow. We'll try and keep an eye on the leaderboard on the left hand side to see if we have any major changes while we watch Schnitzy on board for this lap. Some savings, no. It's a poor first sector for the Red Bull, so he's got time to make up. The McLarens as well, not having their best qualifying, only 15th and 16th at the moment. There is just over 4 minutes, as you can see, remaining to put that right. Schnitzy then will be getting a little bit of a tow now from Volcano ahead of him. There's a Haas in there as well, which I think is Kron's back out there on an out lap, yes. And as you can see, Schnitzy now is improving just a little bit. And this is going to be the point. Yeah, Volcano gets out of the way. He doesn't want to give him that tow. He needs to be right up behind Kron now to try and get that last little bit of straight line speed, because he's got, what, about just over 2/10 to make up if he wants to get ahead of Volcano. There's some yellow flags out the back of the circuit. What's it going to be for Schnitzy this time? Has he done enough? Can he get into the low 20s? It's a 20.2, but he's just short, isn't he? Only just. It's a little bit more of a tow, and he would have got ahead of the Alpine reserve. So we've got a Ferrari coming around the final corner and into the pits. So as is becoming tradition, we switch to people who are on in-laps. IJ is improving, but unless he can find quite a bit in the final sector, I think this is just going to be an improvement on time, but not position yet. 23.2 stays 19th. We've got a AlphaTauri coming back into the pits. Danos is not on a lap, but looks like he may be starting one because he's going across the line. Snellhank is coming through the final corner and looks to be improving. So where's this going to put him? It could put him somewhere around Wardy if he can improve in this final sector. It puts him just behind the Ferrari driver, a 21.362. And Craigo trying to get himself off the back of the grid at the moment, starting a lap by the looks of things. There's another, is that Sinful in the Mercedes? Again, starting a lap by the looks of things. Going to watch you don't end up having people come out of the pits for their out laps while you're on a flying lap with obviously 2.5 minutes remaining. It's a little bit early for your final run, but Spritzy goes across the line. I think that was his final run, and it's a 20.888. Philip Hogston starting a lap. Spivey is, that's not him, it's so that's Schnitzy already round on his in lap back to the pits. So what have we got going on now then? We've got a Williams, have we, coming through the final corner of IJ? That's back to Huss has been disqualified because he's what? Why? How is he? Oh, he's dropped it on the exit of Ascari, and he's been disqualified. So all Huss's work to put himself, where was he? Let's have a look where he was. I believe P11 at the time. Well, now he's right at the back. What are we missing going on then? Dragos has gone across the line to start a lap. Cosmo, likewise. Craigo improves massively. 2.5 seconds puts him up right behind his teammate in P12 at the moment. Got McLaren coming back to the pits. We've got Sinful. He's not improving and returns to the pits. Spritzy, what can he do? He's not on a lap, is he, by the looks of things? I wonder if he's backed off and going again. We'll see if he pulls to the right hand side and into the pit lane. He's not going at any sort of pace, so I'd imagine he's probably not going to fuel for another lap, even though he has the time. Wardy, what can he do? Can he get in the top 10 with this? He's getting a bit of a tow there, isn't he? Actually, maybe starting a lap, so yeah. He's going to get a good tow anyway for the start of that lap. Schnitzy's in the pits, so won't improve on P2. Kron's on an out lap, so he's surely too late to make the line. He is. He's invalidated his out lap as well. But once the yellow flags disappear, I'm sure we're going to see. He's trying to take the line of least resistance. We've got a Mercedes off in the corner. That's what's causing the yellow flag. We've got Phil improving, I think, to go equal with Kron in P4. The Alfa Romeo's coming across the line. Cosmo improved. I don't think Dragos did. They're 9th and 11th. Craigo's improving again by the looks of things. Goes P8 on the second lap on those tyres. Goes a cracking lap. 20.8 there. Really improving right at the death. And there's a Mercedes which isn't going to be improving. Wardy, I think, is on a lap, but has some traffic, which I think could be Spivey, who I think is also on a lap, actually. But Wardy might be getting a good tow from this. I don't think there's too many drivers behind that are still on laps, so this could be Wardy's chance to get himself up the order, and there's a Red Bull in the way. And he's not going to go any higher than 13th. And we have yellow flags very much at the final corner. Can't see who's improving, if anyone. Inorganic does not. Who else have we got? Volcano coming across the line. Don't think he's improving, is he? He is, just fractionally improves to a 20.145. We've got the two. Phil's actually improving here. This might. Oh no, he's dropped it right ahead of Ricker. So what can Ricker manage now then? He's going to get himself ahead of Phil, surely, with that. He does. Goes P3, gets himself ahead of Kron as well, of course, because they were equal times. So yeah, jumps right up the order. Phil, with that, would probably have gone P3 himself, around a 20.3, 20.4, given what he was improving. But he'll be kicking himself, but it's not the end of the world. He'll start P5 by the looks of things. I'm pretty certain that's it. I don't know if Dragos is on a second lap. No, he's not, so that's going to be it for qualifying. That is your order confirmed. We have a couple of comments. Nico saying, glad to see I'm alive. Yeah. Phil's team and support will hope he pits for the correct tyre. No comment on that one. What have we got going on in the Discord? We've got some onboards from the Aston Martin crew. So both us and Spritzy streaming their onboards. We've got some senior chat as well. Spivey apologising for spinning in the last corner. I think it was Wardy, wasn't it? That particular collision. Absolutely nothing he could do about it, of course. It's just one of those things. But Wardy taking the benefit of the tow, but obviously also the pain of being involved in that incident. He'll start P13, so it's not the end of the world. He'll be looking to make up some positions on the opening lap, and we're just waiting for Cosmo's car to return to the pits, and we'll be ready for the race. Just looking, there's a small chance of rain. It looks like it's supposed to be overcast for the race, and when I say a small chance, we're looking at an absolute maximum of sort of 27%. The majority of it's somewhere between 11 and 15, so it looks like we'll get a dry race. Confirmation of your results then, Volcano. Setting the fastest time in qualifying for the second week in a row. He's on pole from Schnitzy, who did a very good qualifying to be within a tenth of him. Ricker and Kron make up row 2. Phil, it's an all-Phil third row then, with Phil and Philip Hogston. And then Danos, Craigo, Spritzy and Dragos is your top 10. Sinful, Cosmo, Wardy, Snellhank, Spivey, Goa, GR, Inorganic, IJ, and unfortunately Huss rounds out the qualifiers. And very shortly, we'll be going to the grid. So, it looks a little cloudy, but definitely dry to begin with. And what do we like temperature-wise? 33 degrees track temperature. So it should be, I would imagine it'd be dry throughout. Temperature 26 degrees, so it's a very pleasant day out there in the Monza Parkland. As we've got just 10 seconds remaining until we'll be away on the formation lap, so hopefully drivers have all got their race strategies dialed in. And of course, at the moment, we do have the sort of issue that, thanks to Cody's and EA, we have the park flame glitch. So at the moment, it's not being enforced because it's impossible to. So it will, of course, give drivers a chance to switch between a quali and a race setup. I'm not sure how many drivers will have done that. Personally, I'll just stick the race setup on and go with it. Not worry too much about qualifying. But Volcano leading us around then. And on the looks of it, we have Backer on the RPM YouTube account saying good evening and getting their Aston. Yes, not the best qualifying we've seen from them this season, with a 9th for Spritzy and a very disappointing disqualification for Huss. He'll be looking to make up some places early on. What's everyone gone for in terms of tyres? We've got one on the soft, that's IJ, so he'll be looking to really get going early on. We've got Huss playing the long game on the hard, likewise Sinful and Wardy. Phil also, as is pretty much tradition, is going alternative. And the rest of them all on mediums. So as you'd expect, really. So already we're round into the final sector, and it won't be too long before we're away and up and running with this 27-lap race, which I'm sure has plenty of action to come. As you can see, the driver's getting some last-minute temperature into the tyres as they head down towards the Parabolica, and now they've just got to get the cars lined up on the grid. See how many can get it lined up, and how many are reset to the grid. Pretty short lap here, of course, with the high speeds, so we'll soon get through this. It's expected to be a pretty swift race. We've got Shaq in the comments as well. Good evening, Van Shaq. Been busy looking at his Spanish teacher, apparently. Right, we've got the last few. Oh, Dragos didn't make it. And Cosmo. It must be something in the water down at Alfa Romeo. Can we get everyone else on the grid successfully? No, we've not got Spivey and Goa. Oh, it's horrific down the back. GR, Inorganic, can the final two get on the grid? Snelling looks like he's running behind a bit, and he's finally disqualified as well. But we have everyone on the grid. We go back to the front, and we've got lights coming on. We can't see them, but I imagine they are out, and we're underway. We'll try and wait and see who gets the best of the starts. Volcano looks like he's got away pretty well. There's Ricker there looking pretty racy. He's gone in between Volcano and Schnitzy down into turn 1. Hopefully we can get a view of it. There we go. And it's all going to get very tight through turns 1 and 2, isn't it? Ricker running it around the outside of Volcano. He's through by the looks of things. We've got yellow flags though. Who's that? It's Huss is up quite a few places. Wardy looks like he's dropped down. There's a Haas in there as well. But at the moment it's Ricker who leads from Volcano. Schnitzy coming around the outside. Phil playing the patient game at the moment on those hard tyres, but he's up a position as well ahead of Kron. So that's your top 4 at the moment. Not sure who it was that got involved in that. Dragos dropped a few positions as well, didn't he? Cosmo's up about 4 by the looks of things. So I think that's where the action was, perhaps with the second of the Alfa Romeos there. But let's just get the position change on. And let's have a look then. Yeah, so Ricker up 2, crucially leads the race at the moment. He'll be looking to break that DRS window, of course. We've got Cosmo going ahead of Crago. Cosmo up 6 places. Snellhenk up 5, Goa up 4. So good start for the two McLarens. Danos down 6. Yeah, Dragos, as we said, down 7, and Wardy as well. So I wonder if it was Dragos and Wardy. I don't think they started too far apart, did they? Looks like that might have been the contact. Oh, wait a minute again. We've got Ferrari and Alfa Romeo contact. Coming through the parabolica at the end of lap 1, Ricker's speeding away up the front, but still only half a second to Volcano. Look at this, we've got 3 or 4 cars involved here. Crago going ahead of Cosmo, Philip Hogston in behind as well, and Snellhenk looking to make up more places from the 5 he's already done. Dragos, sorry, it's not Dragos, it's Cosmo and Crago still side by side. Oh, we've lost Kron. Kron's spinning to the inside of turn 2. He's going to have to go off the escape road and rejoin. He should be able to get back on safely there and not lose too much more time, but down to 17th. Disaster for Haas early on. We've got Inorganic. I think, was that some yellow flags for him as well, or just the remaining yellow flags from Kron? I think it may have been. So that moves this Crago and Cosmo battle up to P5, doesn't it? And they're still side by side. Incredible stuff. As Sinful and Philip Hogston now also running side by side. This is an incredible battle in the midfield. I'm not entirely sure what's going on up the front. Volcano's lost a couple of places somewhere. It's now Schnitzy in P2, and crucially Ricker's more than a second ahead of him. Phil in P3, Volcano has dropped a couple more positions, but what on earth is going on in the midfield? This is incredible. We've got some yellows. Oh no, we've lost, that's Dragos. Dragos with another incident through the middle of Ascari. We'll get back to this though, because look, as we come round for another lap, we've got DRS straight into this battle yet. We've got Cosmo, Snellhenk, Crago, Philip Hogston, Sinful, Spritzy in there as well. Look at them all queuing up. We've got Goa, Danos, Spivey, I think even in the back of that as well. That's incredible. And Huss is on the back of it in the second Aston Martin. Who's going to make the moves? So Crago drops down, Snellhenk up to P5 now, Cosmo 6th, Crago, Philip Hogston, Sinful, Danos and Spivey now side by side, and we've got one of the Haas cars. Oh, wait a minute. Spivey's out of the race. We've got a virtual safety car. As GR goes by, Kron into the pits for a set of hards. Right, we can just catch our breath for a second, because what an opening 2.5 laps that was. As it's a virtual safety car, so as we've said, no reset of the gaps, and Kron won't be too pleased about that. He would have quite liked a safety car. IJ would quite like this virtual safety car to still be going by the time he gets around to the end of the lap, but I doubt it will, for him to get rid of those soft tyres. Right, we're back up and running once again then. As Ricker leads us round into lap 4 from Schnitzy, Phil, Volcano, your pole sitter in P4, Snellhenk, Cosmo, Crago, Philip Hogston, Spritzy. Goa's dropped back a little bit on the restart. Huss, then Wardy, and IJ up to P13 on those soft tyres. Danos has dropped back a little bit. We did see one of the, yeah, was it Danos then? There was a Mercedes that came to a stop pretty much, wasn't it? Where Spivey hit the wall. I wonder if he had damage, did he? Danos is into the pits. Did he have damage? No. GR though in the other Haas has got rear wing damage by the looks of things, so that's going to be horrific. To 33% rear wing damage. That's going to be a very long night for him. But let's see what we've got. Volcano closing in a little bit now on Phil, maybe getting the tyres up to temperature a little bit quicker on those mediums after the VSC. Things are just starting to settle down a bit now in the midfield. As the majority of the... wait a minute, we've got Goa facing the wrong way. I was just about to say the majority... please don't say we had some contact there. What's just happened? Looks like we might have got away with that. Yeah, the majority of the medium runners are sort of filtering their way up towards the front, aren't they? Huss running behind his teammate at the moment. Schnitzy sets the fastest lap of the race, 23.236. So, yeah, running about 3 seconds lower than the qualifying time. And we're already on to lap 5, so as we mentioned, it's such a high-speed lap here that we soon get through them. Even with a virtual safety car, we're a fifth of the way through already, pretty much, aren't we? As Volcano really starting to close in now with the aid of DRS down that main straight. As we've got some more yellows down at turn 1. Who's that? Philip Hogston perhaps has had a little bit of a half spin maybe. And this midfield battle really has strung itself out, hasn't it? As Goa looks like he's had more troubles down at turns 1 and 2. So yeah, he was part of that battle earlier on. It's very much spread out. Spritzy, P8 at the moment, 2.5 seconds off Craigo ahead of him on the medium tyres. Just seems to be missing a little bit of outright pace this evening, doesn't he? Not seeming to carry any damage, although for some reason, once again, we've only got telemetry. We've got telemetry on 6 cars this evening, which beats the 2 that we had last week, but unfortunately still makes it a little useless. We've got Snellhenk, Cosmo, Goa, Dragos, Inorganic, and GR. So unfortunately, yeah, we're not able to see any damage or anything to anyone else. It looks like Spritzy's having quite a bit of trouble getting that Aston Martin turn, so I wonder if he's got any damage that we can't see. So yeah, unfortunately, as we mentioned, the task is pretty much useless. Can he get back on the tail of Philip Hogston, who has the DRS, of course, ahead of him? No, he can't. And his teammate now is only 8 tenths behind him, so he'll get the DRS as well. As we're into lap 6, RJ picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so that's all that he gained on those soft tyres. Unfortunately, he's going to lose serving that penalty. As Huss, what can he manage? Can he find a way past his teammate? Are there any potential team orders down at Aston Martin? Spritzy does seem to be struggling with a lot of understeer. Danos sets the fastest lap of the race at 22.7, so the times are coming down. That's a set of soft tyres as well on that Mercedes, isn't it? So he must have been in for the to repair some damage, as indeed we see Spritzy pulling alongside his teammate, and Huss goes through on these hard tyres, which are seemingly coming quite good at the moment. Up the front though, we still have Phil and Volcano racing for P3 and 4. Just 3 tenths between them, and I imagine we're going to see the Alpine blasting past the AlphaTauri down this main straight. Mediums still seeming to be just about the better tyre. But Phil will be looking to go a long way into this race and doesn't really want to be wasting too much of the tyre by spinning it up and fighting too hard against Volcano. So I've got a comment in the chat saying none of the Discord invites work. Okay. Backer, if you're still with us, maybe you could have a look into that. Failing that, we will have a look post-race. Certainly double check that one for you. Cosmo is now right on the back of Snellhenk for P5. And Craigo's still right behind. So these two have been glued together pretty much the entire race, haven't they? Cosmo, what can he manage as we come down to Ascari? DRS open, of course, but nowhere to go through what is a very high-speed chicane, of course. And he probably got a little bit too close to the back of Snellhank there and had to get out of it. And you can see the red light flashing, so yeah, Snellhank's pretty much used all of his electrical energy. He's going to be a sitting duck, I imagine. Coming onto the main straight, running wide as well, and maybe picking up a warning for that one. As, wait a minute, we've got Craigo coming as well. I imagine Snellhank's probably going to drop a couple of positions here. As, Cosmo's going to get boxed in. There's a little bit of contact, and a bit more contact as well. Craigo's gone deep. They're going to surely come together at the apex of 2. And somehow they're all facing in the right direction still. So, yeah, we'll take that. As Huss on those hard tyres from the back of the grid, of course, disqualified in qualifying because he got stuck in the barrier pretty much, from what we could see. He's up to P8 on his hard tyres and going very nicely indeed. He will be looking to, I imagine, jump the 3 ahead of him. The top 4 look like they may be out of reach, providing they don't have any trouble. And let's just nip back on board, or watch Volcano anyway, as we come down to the Ascari chicane. Still right behind Phil, but 5-second gap has emerged to Schnitzy ahead of them. The top 2 looking very comfortable. Backer helping out there for the Discord, thank you very much. As we come across the line, then Volcano surely is going to go through this time, using a little bit of overtake as well. And Phil not choosing to use any to defend, but he's still on the outside there. He's going to have a very tight run through turn 2. He maintains the position for now, and that was very good racing from the pair of them actually to get through there. Phil looks like just released the brake and rolled it into turn 2. We've got Cosmo facing the wrong way, so unfortunately the Alfa Romeo evening gets worse. He is going to rejoin ahead of his teammate, with the McLaren Ricoh still in between them. So back to the battles then. Huss is now only half a second behind Craigo, and of course Cosmo's spin has gained him another position, so P7 now for this evening at least, the lead Aston Martin. I believe he is in the championship as well, isn't he? Yeah, they're very close. Huss currently on 129.5 points in P4, Spritzy 123.5 in P6, as Craigo runs very wide. And I imagine Huss is going to be through any moment now, actually. And wait a minute, we've got Philip Hogston on the back of this. So once again, it's a 3-car battle here for P6, 7 and 8. And they're both gone wide. Look at that. Philip Hogston's going to be at the inside of Huss at least. He's going to get the DRS as well. We'll try and get a view that actually works in a second. As Craigo pulls into the pits at the last minute. Leaves these two on the track. They've both got DRS, and Huss just pulling ahead at the moment. As yeah, they make it into turn 1. A little bit of a lock up there from Philip Hogston, cost him just a little bit of time. Now Huss needs to get on the back of Snellhank, doesn't he? That's going to be what saves him, if anything, as GR, I think, has had a spin. Oh, he's right on the apex of the Parabolica. That's going to be so tight. And can he get off that curb? Yes, he can. Whether he's damaged or not, we'll soon see. Spritzy has been in the pits, hasn't he, at some point? We've missed that, but Craigo and Cosmo have also been in this time. Volcano just dropping off the back of Phil a little bit now. 10 laps now on those mediums. Are they starting to go off, I wonder? As we are having people pit, so you imagine that they're getting to the end of the best of their life anyway. Huss not quite managing to get in the DRS. In fact, he's dropped back a little bit from Snellhank on this lap. So he is going to be perhaps a little vulnerable to Philip Hogston on the main straight this time. And does anyone choose to pit at the end of this lap? Snellhank carries on, as does Philip Hogston. Huss, of course, we'd expect to go quite a bit longer. Wardy as well is recovering. I think he was in an incident earlier on, wasn't he? Dragos and Sinful are now getting a little closer to each other for P10. DRS open on the Mercedes. What speed's he going to get up to? 217 just before he hits the brakes for turn 1. Up the road a little bit. Philip Hodgson just dropping back, as we've seen. I think that's GR again. Probably cut those tyres. If I were him, I'd come in and stick a set of hards on, because yeah, the temperature's clearly through the roof on that. As we've got the leaders approaching, actually. GR gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane just to compound his misery, and he retires in the pit lane, unfortunately. As Ricker continues on for another lap. Schnitzy not trying the undercut this time. Volcano's got ahead of Phil somewhere. We missed that one, but Phil now will get the DRS and has quite a bit more energy as well. So we're going to see him pop out into turn 1. He's not quite got the straight line speed, has he, even with the DRS? Obviously, drag is relatively low here with the high top speeds, of course, so you probably gain a little bit less from the DRS, but Volcano may be running slightly less wing, it seems, than Phil. So we're on to lap 12 then. When are we going to see these leaders in for a set of what I imagine is going to be the hard tyres? We have got that Haas back out on track, but I think he's pulling to the inside now, so it shouldn't be an issue much longer. There we go, all clear. So Huss as well now is closing in on Snelheng, so he's within half a second. He's within that DRS zone as well now, looking to get himself into the top 5. Rear wing wide open, of course. Won't be looking to make a move this time, but Snelheng still struggling for electrical energy. He could very much do with a safety car or a virtual safety car to help him charge that back up. As we've got the leader in then. Ricker is in, Schnitzy carries on, so chooses not to match him. As Volcano in as well. I think he'll be a little too far behind to try any sort of undercut. As Snelheng as well, and so it looks like the mediums are coming to the end of their life, albeit your leader is still on them, of course, into his 13th lap. I imagine we'll see him in next time around, and that will put two of the guys who started on the hards to the front of the field, Phil and Huss, of course. Wardy is in P5, so Rick has come out ahead of him on fresh hards. Where is the other Aston Martin? Spritzy, not having the best of evenings, but he is going to gain a couple of places here with cars in the pits. And what's it going to do to him? He's pitted fairly early, hasn't he? I'm not sure if he did have damage. But he's early onto the hards. He should be able to go to the end, but obviously he'll have a little less performance than those around him. Philip Hodgson comes out of the pits just ahead of him. And can he get ahead of the Alpine while he's still getting up to temperature? It's all getting pretty tight there, using the last little bit of energy he's got as well, but Philip Hodgson has like 90% battery. He's just going to use a tiny bit of that, pull away, and there's nothing, unfortunately, Spritzy can do about it. And there's Kron recovering as well. He's done 10 laps on his hards following that earlier spin. And Spritzy up the inside, out of the Roger chicane. They will almost come together again, as Philip Hodgson runs right around the outside. We've got, I think that maybe Danos having a bit of trouble down at turn 2. But yeah, Spritzy now will get the DRS. He could, to be fair, Philip Hodgson's on fresh hards and will probably end up pulling away. Spritzy would probably be better using that DRS to recharge his battery a little bit, but he's going for it, the short-term gain, and wanted that position and takes it. Schnitzy's in the pits and out of the pits. Maintains his net P2 at the moment, as Kron probably looking to line up the pair of them here. And Philip Hodgson runs a little bit wide. Wait a minute, is that Phil? Ooh, thought it might have been in the wall there. He's been facing the wrong way and over the escape road there, so that's cost him quite a bit of time. But it might not cost him a position. He's still ahead of Huss, so I think he'll probably still be around that P4 position that he was in, wasn't he? Because Volcano had already cleared him. So yeah, it may have cost him time, but ultimately probably not a position. Nicker, no doubt, will have a keen interest in that. Kron is clear of these two now, and again Spritzy struggling with understeer. Looks like he maybe locked the fronts there, as Philip Hogston all over the back of him, and still Spritzy he's got a little bit of charge back in, but he's looking like he may fall down the order here because Crago's coming as well with a good amount of battery. As yeah, Philip Hogston, look how easy it is with the DRS and a bit of battery. He's through. Puts the Aston down to P11 and into the clutches of Crago behind, who's trying to picks up a penalty actually, trying to make his way back through the field at Ferrari's home race. So the two at the front haven't pitted yet, of course. They're on the hard tyres. So Ricker is your net leader, and he's won a couple of races this season, I believe, hasn't he? He was on pole in Japan, finished third after a late safety car, finished second from 19th on the grid in Hungary, won from 5th in Spain, won from 12th at Silverstone. Had a bit of a shocker last time out, didn't he? 5th on the grid, P10 only in the sort of wet dry race. And he's doing a very good job so far this evening. Had a cracking start, and hasn't looked back since, really, has he? Whilst quite a few others have had incidents, all so far he's going pretty well. Touch wood. Hopefully not that commentator's curse that we've seen so often. The two net leaders at the moment, really, Snitsy looking to get a bit of temperature in those hards. Very low on battery, the pair of them. They're using absolutely everything they can as they come round already into lap 16. When are we going to see these two switch from the hards that they started on, and what are we going to see them put on? Do they perhaps risk it for a set of the soft tyres? As this is definitely closing in. It's 1.5 seconds now, so there's a little bit of a race on here. Although we'll just go and have a look at what's happening in the pack. Oh, Kron! Kron is in the wall, unfortunately, again, and he's going to have to wait for those drivers to come through. We've got a full safety car. That's bizarre. We've got a full safety car, and Ricker will be absolutely kicking himself because it's the perfect time for Phil and Huss. And Phil might just be kicking himself, actually, for that spin, because I wonder if that's taking him out of the safety car window for Ricker. I wonder if Ricker will maintain the lead here, but he'll be on hard tyres. He either pits and gives up the track position, or he stays out on hard tyres, and I'm pretty sure at least one of the top two will pit for softs. We've got the three at the back pitting before they get picked up. So Phil's in the pits. He's got a Williams ahead of him, just going a little bit slowly. So what does Ricker do? Does he stay out and take the track position? He does. Schnitzy also. But what are these guys going to put on? Phil's putting the mediums on. Huss is also going the mediums. There's still a fairly long way to go, so it's probably the safer option. Still going to have some pretty good performance out of a fresh set of mediums at this stage, aren't they? And they're going to come out right behind the top three on track. No back markers in between them or anything like that. Wardy as well is going to gain from this. Looks like he is going to come out just ahead of his teammate, and that'll be P6 for him. Sinful is probably going to get out ahead of Snellink in the pits. He is, yes. Snellink's put the softs on. Philip Hogston's put the softs on as well. Who stayed out? Dragos and Crago have both stayed out. Interesting stuff. So we've got quite a mixture of strategies out there. We've got slightly used hards, we've got fresh mediums, we've got fresh softs a little bit further down the back. Spritzy has gone for a fresh set of softs, so must be repaying a favour from me going for softs last week in the Premier Division, giving him something to talk about. He's trying to do the same for us here. But he's got a couple of soft tyre runners ahead of him, so he's not going to have it all his own way. Cosmo's already done a lap on his softs. It does get Kron, although, yes, so Kron caused the safety car. It does, of course, let him close back up on the pack. But he's on a set of used mediums, which I think he actually started the race on, didn't he? So he started the race on the mediums, had a spin, pitted for the hards, and then put the same set of mediums back on. So, yeah. Interesting one from the Haas team, but of course only one set of mediums, and didn't feel that the softs clearly would go to the end. We're into lap 18 of 27. So I imagine we'll have another lap under the safety car after this one. Probably get back underway on lap 20, I imagine. So that'll give us, what, 8 laps of racing. And it's probably just put a little bit of unwanted pressure on Ricker, who's, as we mentioned, been pretty comfortable for the first 16 and a bit laps. He's got to get those hard tyres up to temperature, and he's got Volcano as well, who obviously we've seen has a good turn of pace. He's got him right back on the pack as well. Obviously had that, I assume it was a spin or an off earlier on that we didn't quite catch on the on camera, but he is now back on the tail of the top two. But what's going to be really interesting is those 3 medium runners in 4th, 5th and 6th, and what can Huss do? Can he get a podium, or even better, can he, win's not off the table here, can he win from the very back of the grid, having been disqualified in qualifying? If anyone is in the comments and wants to call a race winner for us now on lap 18 of 27, please do so. There's absolutely nothing in it for you at the end. Bit of pride. Safety car in this lap, so a little bit earlier than expected. We're going to get 9 laps of racing. We're going to be back underway on lap 19. So, that might have caught a couple of drivers out. I'm thinking the hard runners. They're going to have to get some temperature in down this back straight. And everything's going to slow up, so hopefully everyone can keep it out of the back of the cars ahead of them. Don't want any penalties or damage, even worse, of course. So when will Ricker choose to drop the hammer, and will we see anyone on cold hards drop it through Parabolica? Ricker is up and running. The top 5 all look to have got away with it. Is anyone going to be making moves? That's we've got everyone through the Parabolica, so that's... Oh no, we haven't! It's Kron! Oh, Kron. We spoke a fraction too soon. He's dropped it very late through the Parabolica there. But, yeah. So he's retired, and we obviously have no safety car, no virtual safety car. But if he knocks the front wing off, we have a full safety car. We'll never understand. Anyway, that's our 3rd retirement of the evening. 17 runners remaining, and they're all pretty close to each other. We've got Ricker, though, pulling away at the front already. We'll try and keep up with a bit more of the action now. Phil on these medium tyres. He's the first of the runners on the fresh mediums, and he's all over the back of Volcano. So, roles reversed then from the first stint. It was Volcano on the mediums, Phil on the hards. It's the other way around now, and the AlphaTauri will be looking to make amends for losing out to the Alpine earlier on. Huss is maybe just easing his way into this final stint. He's dropped back a little bit, and Wardy also just over a second behind. He's got his teammate on used hards right behind him. So Wardy not able to get those mediums going so far. Where are the soft runners? Here we are. Snellhank, Spritzy, Philip Hodgson and Cosmo. We've got some yellow flags. That's one of the Williams, I think, getting out of the way. Ricker sets the fastest lap immediately, even on those hard tyres, a 22.738 as they come across the line this time. No DRS, of course, until the next lap. In fact, it'll be enabled at the end of the next lap, at the end of this lap, won't it? So they'll get it in 2 laps' time, effectively, as Spritzy runs a little bit wide. That's Philip Hodgson on the grass as a result and loses out. Oh, and spins the rear end up as well. Lost out to Cosmo, and then unfortunately lost a little bit more time with that. Cosmo and Spritzy now running side by side as we come down to the Roger chicane. Spritzy trying to look for a switch back there perhaps, but the Alpha was still alongside him. They made contact, and both managed to stay on track. That's Spritzy P11, Cosmo P12. As a result of that, they've lost a little bit of time to Snelling, who's that lead car on the softs, and he's looking to line up Sinful ahead of him. Sinful, of course, on the mediums, and then a couple of cars on the hards, on used hards, that you would think Snelling will probably back himself to get ahead of. Be interested to see how long these soft tyres go, though. Obviously, they'll have been hoping for that extra lap under the safety car that we didn't get to make sure these softs get to the end. And already look at Snelling using a lot of battery power to put himself in this position. So DRS is now enabled, but they will not have use of it on this straight. 22.5 for Ricker. Snelling using pretty much all of his battery power here. He's gone early, hasn't he? Gone very early indeed. As Sinful up ahead, going past Dragos into turn 1. Can he get it stopped? And can Snelling keep it out the back of the Alfa Romeo? Just about. Volcano has got ahead of Schnitzy somewhere, so and look at that, Ricker, 2.5 seconds clear. Phil now ahead of Schnitzy. Let's have a look at that one. The Red Bull dropping back a little bit, and now Huss is on the back of him. In fact, he's blown his electrical energy already. And how many times are we seeing this throughout this race? And look at even Ricker. Ricker's got himself out of the DRS. He can sort of afford it, but there's a lot of drivers who've gone all in with their battery power on this restart. As we've got yellow flags, that's Cosmo. Is he in the wall? He's facing the wrong way and looks like he has been in the wall at some point. Is he going to get going again? He's spinning the rear wheels, isn't he? He's stuck. That's a strange one. And he's been reset to the track, but it's an AlphaTauri 1-2 at the moment. And look at that, we've got 2 wide through the Parabolica. Huss is up to 3rd. We've got yellow flags. Cosmo again on what probably is cut tyres now, but pretty much the entire top 5. Ricky's got absolutely 0 left in the battery. Only Huss has a good amount of battery power left, and I imagine this is going to put him all the way to 2nd place, and who knows, may even get a crack at the win. Huss is on the last to first challenge at the moment for Aston Martin with, what are we on, lap 22 of 27, so it's still very, very possible indeed. We've got battles going on all through the order. So Schnitzy looking to come back at Volcano, but again, as we've mentioned, no battery power left. Plus that's 60%. He's doing an incredible job and saving it, of course, with the DRS at the moment behind Phil. Halfway around lap 22, what can he manage? Just under 2.5 seconds behind the race leader. He's not using any of his battery power this time. He's probably lining Phil up for the main straight, isn't he? 21% in the AlphaTauri. Ricker still using everything he can, but that means he's using it all as overtake mode. That means he's got no energy left for any sort of deployment around the lap. It will cost him lap time. Snelling's out of the race. Hopefully we don't get another safety car as a result of that. We have. Oh, another safety car. Oh, no, wait a minute. What's Huss doing? Yep. All back in line, no issues. And oh, the safety. They've just. That's interesting. So they've just gone past the safety car as it comes out of the pits. So lap 23 is going to be pretty high speed, isn't it? It's to the delta, but it's not going to be slow up behind the safety car. A lot of drivers pitting. However, if you'd probably have done better, because now they're going to all be wasting this time getting past the safety car. I don't know whether it would. I think it would be better to pit on the 2nd lap because they hadn't picked the safety car up yet. So you'd have an extra lap of fresh tyre effectively and not lose out. Either way, the soft tyre runners have pretty much all been back in. Philip Hogston and Goa have stayed out. Snelling, of course, was on those softs, but he dropped it. Volcano chose to pit. So he's gone, obviously, from well up the order to P12, but on fresh softs. What happens up the front now then? Of course, this does reset all the batteries. So the likes of Ricker, who was down to absolutely nothing, but it puts him back within that DRS window, of course. So as we come around to start lap 24, we have a lot still to be worked out. The 2 AlphaTauris continue on. Huss, so he dropped. No, he was running third, wasn't he? It'd be interesting to see, does anyone else choose to pit at the end of this lap? No, not so far anyway. And I think that's probably going to be it for the pitters, isn't it? Maybe if you're right at the back, you choose to put another set of softs on. But Rick has been picked up by the safety car now then. 11 lap old hard. Schnitzy also on 10 lap old hards. Ferrari's 5th and 6th at the moment, but Craigo does still have that penalty and the oldest hard tyres out there, so it's going to be difficult for him to maintain that. However, we're on lap 24. 25 is almost certainly going to be under the safety car as well, so that's going to mean we have no more DRS throughout this race. Enabled, of course, only 2 laps after the safety car. After the safety car comes in, of course. So it looks like we've got an old-fashioned run to the flag. You're going to have to do it the old-school way. And then, of course, that battery power becomes even more important where you deploy your overtake mode. At the moment, it's an AlphaTauri 1-2. Won here, of course, with Pierre Gasly in 2020. Can Ricker or Phil replicate that? Can Huss complete the last to first challenge? Let's just have a look at that. The position change. He's up 17 positions from the back of the grid. He's on reasonably fresh mediums. They say they've done 7 laps. Most of those have been under a safety car, which is not going to be in this lap. So we are going to go into lap 25 of 27 with the safety car, which I may be imagining things. Did that happen in Belgium last week? Did we have a sprint to the end? I think we may well have done. And let's just have a quick look at something else. So we're what, about just over half an hour into the race. It's definitely become overcast now, hasn't it? I don't think we're going to get any rain, but who knows? It's getting a little darker, but I think we'll be okay in the final 3 laps. Nick is saying we did have a sprint in Spa. Judging by the Spa strategy, I think Phil should have come in and put the inters on at that last safety car. So, 25 of 27. We're going to see the safety car in this lap, I'm sure, to give us 2 laps of racing. Who's feeling brave? Who feels that they've got a result on the table? And who's going to go and take it? Half a lap to go under the safety car. Drivers trying everything they can to keep the temperature. The track temperature and the air temperature is coming down, of course. Air temperature now just about 23 degrees. It was 26 at the start of the race. So, yeah, the track temperature's dropped about 4 degrees as well. Safety car's in this lap, so yeah, it'll be even harder to get the temperature in these hard tyres. So, Ricker, Phil, Huss, Schnitzy, Wardy, Craigo, Sinful, Philip Hodgson, Goa, Inorganic, Danos, Volcano. He's one to watch. Dragos, Spritzy, Cosmo, and IJ. They're your 16 runners. We've got 2 laps to the flag, and it's an absolute all-out sprint. Who is going to be on the podium, and who's going to be in tears come the end? Ricker got a very good restart last time. He's chose to go early this time. Through the parabolica he comes, out into lap 26. He's got a decent gap to his teammate at the moment as they drive for the line. Lap 26 of 27, 2 to go. Who's going to be making the moves into turn 1? Huss is lining up Phil as they come down, and that could be a move actually. There's no hanging about this time. It's now or never. 2 laps is all you've got. And the top 3 running very close indeed. Ricker on those old hards. We say old hards, but like everything else, they've not done that many laps under green flag conditions. This second half of the race has been very scrappy. But what's going on in the midfield? We've got Volcano making up positions to P11. How far can he get on those softs? It'd be interesting to see whether he had to pit, whether he had damage, or if that was a strategic call. But at the moment, he's back up into the top 10 in the Alpine. What have we got going on up the front? Huss. We've got yellows. We've got yellows. That's ice. IJ's retired. I think we've got Spritzy involved in that as well. Oh, we've got a massive accident down the back. We've got Spritzy reversing back onto the track. We've got Dragos and Inorganic. Inorganic's still going. Dragos and IJ locked into each other there. So looks like we'll carry that on under yellow flags. But back to the front, we've got Ricker leading from Phil, leading from Huss and Schnitzy. At the moment, they're all pretty spread out. Someone's going to have to try something brave. And why do I get the feeling it's going to be Phil? Fastest lap of the race of 1:22.5. Clearly no team orders down at AlphaTauri. What's it going to be? The final lap of the race. Is he going to try and pull the move into turn 1? No, he's a little too far back. Look at how much energy they've used already. Down into the 20 and 30%. Huss has quite a bit left. Is he going to launch a last-minute attack throughout the rest of this lap? He's a little bit too far behind, isn't he? Falling into the clutches of Schnitzy, who's absolutely blown his battery within one lap. He must have just been glued to the overtake mode as the two AlphaTauris running through the Roger chicane for the final time. Now the two Lesmos, we've got yellows again. Sinful we've lost. So that's another car out. We're down to just 14. 7 tenths is all it is between the top two, but Ricker at the moment doing everything he needs to do. Look, he's used all of his energy. Phil has a little bit left. He'll be seeing that red light flashing and thinking maybe, just maybe, he has a chance into the Parabolica, but he's a little wide through Ascari. That's going to cost him time. I think Ricker will just about see this one out. Now we've got red lights flashing on both the AlphaTauris. Huss isn't going to make it, is he? The last to first challenge isn't going to happen. The last to podium, though, looks like it very much will. Ricker through the final corner for the final time. Phil's throwing everything at it. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. There's going to be, 2 or 3 tenths between the two AlphaTauris as they cross the line. Ricker takes the win. Phil second. Huss in a fantastic third. Schnitzy fourth. Wardy and Craig come across the line in 5th and 6th, but Philip Hodgson splits them in the results. Volcano made it back up to P8, so it's Ferrari, Alpine, Cosmo, and Danos is your top 10. Goer in P11, Spritzy recovering from that incident. He crosses the line with no front wing in P12, picks up some important points nonetheless, and Inorganic will take P13. And then there's a long wait for Dragos, who we had hooked up to that Williams at the first Lesmo. And wow, what a race we've had. That was pretty hectic stuff in the second half, wasn't it? It was a bit of a slow burn at the beginning as the strategies played out, but boy did it come alive with that couple of those two safety cars. And there's your result. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2 here at Monza, with Ricker taking a 3rd win of the season, I believe. Indeed, 3rd win of the season. Back to winning ways after a disappointing Belgian Grand Prix. And of course, as we mentioned earlier on, he came in leading the championship by 1 point from Kron, who of course did not finish this evening. It's a massive step forward for Ricker. Phil will actually take 2nd in the Drivers' Championship, I believe. It'll be tight, but I think he should do that. Yeah, so 2nd place this evening and 2nd in the Championship. That's going to be massive also for AlphaTauri, as Aston are 2nd in the Constructors at the moment. Obviously Huss on the podium, but Spritzy a disappointing 12th this evening. They'll be looking to get back to their good form at Imola next week, staying in Italy. There is the confirmation of your result. AlphaTauri 1-2, Ricker from Phil. Huss, definitely driver of the day, fantastic, coming back from that disqualification in qualifying to P3 and a podium finish. Schnitzy, very solid 2nd on the grid to P4 in the race. Wardy did a very good recovery job as well, actually. P13 to P5 for Ferrari. Philip Hodgson, Crago, Volcano. It'd be interesting to see what happened to him. He dropped back by pitting under that safety car, didn't he? Cosmo, Danos, Goa, Spritzy, Inorganic, and Dragos were your finishers. Sinful, RJ, Snelling, Kron, GR, and Spivey your non-finishers, and I'm going to go and catch my breath. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for all your comments. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.